Commemoration. K, as K. K, as K. K, as K.
Mark this the 40th anniversary of the assassination of the INLA volunteer Ronnie Bunting and the INLA volunteer Noel. Both of these men epitomise what it meant to be a Republican socialist activist. Volunteer Ronnie Bunting, a founding member of the IRSP and the INLA, a Protestant, reared in a unionist family, understood from his teens the social, economical and political plight of the nationalist working class people of the north of Ireland. A trusted close comrade of Seamus Costello, he understood the very essence of a national liberation and socialism in Ireland. Volunteer Noel Little, a leading figure in the civil rights movement in Belfast since the 1960s, a dedicated political activist and socialist who had recently joined the Republican Socialist movement, known as being articulated and an energetic organiser. On the morning of the 15th of October 1980, British mercenaries, under the direct orders of Margaret Thatcher, entered the Bunting family home, killing Ronnie and Noel and seriously injuring Suzanne, the wife of Ronnie, who we are privileged to have in attendance today. Both of these men were killed because they were a threat. They posed a threat to British imperialism and they posed a threat to the capital establishment in Ireland. The assassination of these two men was cold and calculated, and we will forever remember their sacrifice.
Friends and comrades, before I begin, let me state what a great honour it is to have representatives of the Bunting and Little families, as well as some of Ronnie and Noel's closest friends and comrades here with us today. We are here 40 years on to reflect on the lives and the sacrifices of two Irish revolutionaries, NLA volunteers Noel Little and Ronnie Bunting. Ronnie and Noel are Republican socialists whose names are revered, names that younger members of the IRSP often hear of, as older comrades recall the times that have passed us. Times wherein these two brave men featured at the forefront of the working class struggle against imperialism in its darkest days. On behalf of the Republican Socialist movement, Ronnie and Noel did battle with the colonial establishment in every arena. From highlighting the plight of Republican prisoners as members of the H-Block and Armagh committees, to fighting a war on the streets as volunteers of the INLA. In the corridors of Britain's intelligence world, where the Tory inner circle still mourned the spectacular INLA assassination of their senior colleague Uri Neve a year earlier, revenge was written on the walls. The British government's top brass wanted to strike at the heart of the Republican Socialist movement. They wanted to target figures that were instrumental and immeasurable in value to us. In Ronnie and Noel, they found what they were looking for. For them, Ronnie and Noel represented everything that they despised. To this end, in the early hours of the 15th of October 1980, a specially trained, state-sponsored hit squad was dispatched to West Belfast, and their only objective was to kill. Wearing military garb, they entered the Bunting family home here in Downfine Gardens. Suzanne Bunting, Ronnie's wife, whom we are honoured to have here with us today, fought bravely in an attempt to stop the murder gang from completing their task, but they refused to be hindered. They shot Suzanne and executed Ronnie and Noel, all of this in the presence of Suzanne and Ronnie's children, before returning to the depths from which they emerged. 40 years on, the Republican Socialist movement is as strong and capable as ever. As the latest generation of the anti-imperialist struggle emerges, the memory of Noel Little and the memory of Ronnie Bunting emerges with us. We are living now in different times, but standing on their shoulders, we are confident in what lies ahead. The ending of partition is now inevitable, and although many battles are still to be fought in our pursuit of a socialist republic, we will embrace those challenges. We will continue our struggle in the spirit of Ronnie and Noel. Both men were living embodiments of what this movement set out to offer when it was formed in December 1974. A break from the chains of sectarianism, a break from the chains of British occupation, a break from the chains of capitalism, and the ultimate foundation of an Irish Workers' Republic, one which would serve Protestant, Catholic and Dissenter. They lived their lives in the vision of Tone, McCracken, Hope and Emmett. They followed in the footsteps of those great Protestant Republicans who marched at Bonestown in the 1930s. They knew that the road that they had taken, which was no doubt paved with personal difficulty from the outset, was the right road. It would be remiss of us to fail to mention a recent series of low-level juvenile slurs which were made against Ronnie in the established unionist press in recent days. Slurs which were directly intended to deflect public attention away from ongoing attempts by both Suzanne and the Little family to secure the truth around the events of that murderous night via an inquest held in Irish soil. The Republican Socialist movement are all too aware of the central role which embedded MI5 sponsored journalists play in deflecting the public's mind away from the realities of injustice by slandering those who seek justice in the first place. Slandering Ronnie for a political or military end is one thing, but cynically claiming old-time friendship with him for commercial purposes and in the mouth of a seminal anniversary is quite another. To all such commentators, state-embedded journalists and so-called long-lost friends who would slander our comrade for a reward, we say this: Ronnie was too good for the lot of you, and as you have shamefully abandoned him, we honour him. And as with his comrade Noel, we are very, very proud of him. So let us move forward with our programme of work. Let us continue to thrive as a movement and plough on towards our objectives, because that, comrades, is exactly what Ronnie and Noel would want us to do. Thank you very much.
Card, Alva. Card, Ronnie. Card, Saskia Reese.